How to improve communication and interpersonal skills for a non-US IMG. My name is Julius Haryadi. I'm internal medicine physician working here in the US. How important is communication and interpersonal skills? Why I am making this video? Well, one of the reasons is because the interview season is about to begin. That is when the program tests your communication and interpersonal skills, right? Well, I'm probably gonna make the interview preparation type of video in the future. But here is the thing, you can only prepare as far. Just like when you play chess, there is some preparation. I don't know if you play chess, but basically when you play chess, there is a preparation for opening and then so many moves that you can prep, okay, and then you anticipate. But then you will slowly, eventually, but surely get to the unknown territory. And then you're left on your own to figure out what's the best move. Now, it's the same thing with interview, I think. You can prepare, you know what are the questions, you prepare the answers, but eventually it will get to the unknown territory. And then at that time, the program will be able to assess your true self. What's your level of communication and interpersonal skills? That's why I always like to get to the fundamental level of the principles. Just like when I make my the personal statement video, it's all the fundamental principles. So if you have a really good and strong base of communication and interpersonal skills, then you will nail your interview better than focusing just one specific preparation. Another thing is communication and interpersonal skills are very, very important for non-US IMG. It could be the most important skills to have for you to match, even more important than the USMLE score itself. Think about it this way. Have you heard someone who got 260 or 270, got maybe 5-6 interviews and didn't match? Why they didn't match? Well, most likely they didn't do well during the interview. So it's a problem with communication and interpersonal skills, right? Now, have you heard someone who has a low score and match? Well, I have. I have a student who failed step 1, failed step 2, and then I help him and then help him to pass. Then he was able to match. And he matched in a really good program. And that's because he has a really good communication and interpersonal skills. His communication and interpersonal skills is above the chart. So that's probably why. It can determine whether you can match or don't match. So this is a very, very important skills to have. But the issue is for us as a non-US IMG that doesn't really speak English and as a foreigner that comes completely from a different culture, that it becomes a very, very difficult. So when I first came here in the US, I barely speak English. Like when I go to the restaurant, I don't know how to say it and how to phrase it. So what I did was just open the menu and then point and then, okay, this one, this one, 2. That's what I did. And when it comes the day that I need to do my step 2 CS, back then it was the step 2 CS, now it's an OET only, it was really difficult. I thought I was going home because my English was actually pretty bad. So it was really, really hard. Ironically, it's very interesting that I tried to look if there is anyone ever teach or talk about this. But when I type non-US IMG communication skills or something similar in the search bar in YouTube, I found nothing. So this could be the very first video that actually addressed the communication skills for a non-US IMG. The rest of the videos are pretty much talking about interviews, but not address the main important thing about communication itself. Now, communication and interpersonal skills is a very, very big topic. So there is no way I would cover everything in one video. I plan to make this as some form of a series, like a playlist. So this is going to be the first video and I'm going to make a lot more after this, okay? Because we have to talk about cross-cultural communication as well. We have to talk about relationship management and so on and so forth. So for today's video only, I'm going to give you 3 practical tips that you can do to improve your communication skills. First one, listen and mimic a native speaker. Find your favorite podcaster, YouTuber, whoever that is, okay? And then you want to listen to him or her and follow and mimic how he speaks, the tone, the volume, the pitch, and all of those. I would recommend you to find an American native English speaker, not British or Australian. That makes total sense, right? Because you're going to try to match in the US. It's not that because their accent is bad or anything, right? It's actually pretty cool to have a British accent, but because you're trying to match and work in the United States, that's why I would highly recommend you to follow an American native speaker. Just like when we're a baby and toddler, how we learn language is listening to our parents and then try to mimic those naturally. But now it's not as natural, so you have to put a little bit effort for it. And while you listen, of course, you're going to record and then speak and then try to mimic the way the speaker articulate some words, their pitch, the tone, and all of those. That will really, really help you improve your verbal skills, right? So that's one practical tip. Now, the second tip is increasing output. So it is very similar with the first one, but I just want you to be aware that the only way to improve your communication skills is by talking a lot. So you can choose to make a podcast, you can choose to teach someone, whatever that is, you just have to increase the output. You have to speak a lot in order for you to improve. Now, the thing is, if you just speak but without a good foundation, then you will not really improve the way you want to be. So practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. It's the same thing like you play piano. So I just learned piano like maybe 2 years ago through an online course. And then basically you want to play, when you learn to play a new song, then what you want to do is you want to play it slowly but correctly. There's no point on playing it at the speed that they want you to be, but you get it wrong. You're gonna keep getting it wrong and you're getting good at getting it wrong. So you don't want to do that. You want to go slow but correctly. And when you get that, you get it faster. So the same thing with speaking. You want to learn what is the right way from the American type of English. What is the right way to say some words, to articulate the words? What's the right tone? And what's their tone to do that? And you mimic them and you increase the output. So there's no point if you don't do it the right way, you just keep doing the wrong way and you're getting good at doing the wrong thing, you see? But you have to increase the output no matter what. If you don't increase the output, you will not get better, right? So that is very, very important. Now, the third tip is getting a dialogue. So the tip number one and the tip number two is basically you can do a monologue, you can just speak a lot, but eventually at some point, what the goal is communication. That means it's at least a two-way, right? So you want to get into a dialogue. Now, I understand that it could be difficult for you if you don't have a practice partner or you don't have somebody who is a native speaker who lives overseas that's close to you that you can speak with you and then practice conversation and these things. So I completely understand. If you have it, that's perfect. That's amazing. Of course, the best way to do this is actually to just jump into the environment right away. Like you can do a volunteer work, you can do a US clinical experience and work inside the hospital. That would be the best way to actually practice. But if you don't have it, one thing that you can do now, we have ChatGPT, right? You can download the application of ChatGPT in your phone, and then you can activate the voice mode, and you can have really good conversation with the AI. So it will actually get better eventually, I believe in the fall, depending on when you watch this video. In the fall 2024, I believe they're going to release the new type of voice, and it can respond much faster, almost like a human conversation. I think it's just going to get better and better. And so you can start to have a conversation, immediately. My recommendation is to put a prompt to specify the role that you want ChatGPT to play. For example, if you want to do a simulation of patient and doctor, you want to say, ChatGPT, I would like you to become a patient. We're doing a simulation right here, something like that. So if you specify the role of ChatGPT, it can do much better. So it's just a little trick, but yes, you can do that. And once you get more comfortable, of course, I would highly encourage you to find a real person so you can actually practice a conversation. Now, I actually done all three by teaching USMLE. As you already know, I teach thousands of hours of USMLE, and I was lucky enough that a couple of them are really a native speaker. So I listen, right? And I kind of mimic how they speak, and then I have a high output because I teach so many hours every day, and I have a conversation and dialogue. So teaching USMLE is really the thing that improved my communications like exponentially, because I was barely able to speak. And I did that after I complete my Step 2 CS, by the way. So Step 2 CS was actually still really was the scariest USMLE test that I've ever done. But after that, I teach a lot. I was doing really well on my interview. Those are the 3 practical tips that you can do pretty much immediately, right? So you have to listen to a native speaker, record yourself, mimic them, have a high output, speak a lot, and then find a way so you can have a dialogue. Now, if you're going for a USCE, I do have a gift for you. I have a USCE Essentials PDF guide for non-US IMG. You will have everything that you need there, like what are the types of USCE, how you can get affordable USCE, what you should do during your USCE so you can increase your chance to get a letter of recommendations. And I have updated the guide so it contains the hospitals or university hospital that actually offer observerships or rotations for the non-US IMG. So I put that down in the description below. All right, thank you for watching. I hope that's helpful, and I'll see you again in the next video.